How's it guys, this is Davey FP and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video we're going to be talking about the Game Week 13 preview and all the talking points that come with Game Week 13. This video is basically going to revolve around Diogo Jota replacements, as we have recently got news of a potential injury that could be long-term. We're going to be talking about the watch list and then finally the captaincy decisions going into Game Week 13. So if that's something you're interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get into it. So a new season calls for a new sponsor, but here on the Davey FPL channel, we like our old. So I've brought back the old sponsor, OneFootball, but with a completely new revamped app. Yes, OneFootball has gone over a complete marketing revamp, new logo, new everything. I've checked it out, looks really good. They kind of took the old app, but just made it better. So I'm really appreciative of that. If you want to go check them out, link down in the description below to go download the app. If you don't know who they are, they're the biggest app on iOS and Android. So go check them out. I personally use them, so I can recommend them from a personal level. So reminder of the midweek deadline. This is the start of this festive period where the games come thick and fast. So this deadline is happening in the midweek. So I just wanted to give you guys a reminder that you must please pay attention and change your squad according to the deadlines, as they are coming quite quickly. So the watch list has been updated with some new options going into Game Week 13, which sees the introduction of Heung-min Son. Now I'm recording this video on Sunday afternoon, so the Southampton vs Sheffield United game is currently going on, but I wanted to get this video out as the deadline is quickly approaching, and so we can get our talking points out there before that deadline. So Heung-min Son comes in before an introduction of really good Spurs fixtures. I think those Spurs fixtures turn around Game Week 16, which is where we're going to be using the wild card. So I wanted to just monitor the whole Heung-min Son, Harry Kane situation up until we bring them in. Spurs have some tougher fixtures going up until Game Week 16, so it's enough time to kind of monitor the situation. And with Heung-min Son and Harry Kane's ownership being so high, we might actually have to move for these players before the planned wild card, just because of those good form and the good form that Spurs have been in. So 9.6 million is quite expensive, but it is cheaper than some of our more premium options. And if Heung-min Son continues this form that he's been in, he's definitely going to be performing better than those more expensive options. So a really good bargain there at 9.6, considering he scored 10 goals and 3 assists. The next option is Callum Wilson. So with that whole Newcastle situation, with them having in their postponed fixture, it does look like they're going to be having a double game week around that Game Week 19 point. And at 6.6 million, quite an enticing option there. I know he didn't have the best Game Week 12, but I think Game Week 13 onwards, Newcastle's fixtures don't look that bad, and he is on penalty, so you must always remember that. But with that double game week coming up, it's definitely going to be on my watch list, and on a wild card I might decide to bring him in. But 7 goals, 3 assists is quite good for the Newcastle striker, and I don't think he's going to be going anywhere from that starting lineup. Is definitely their main striker going forward. I know that he hasn't been scoring that many goals recently, but I do expect that to pick up in the upcoming game weeks. And then finally, Reece James, who we've spoken about already in the previous previews, just a great option to go for. If you didn't watch the Everton game, especially in that first half, Reece James was absolutely everywhere. I think he even hit the post, was quite unlucky that it didn't deflect in, but it kind of deflected across the goal and went out. So quite unlucky there to not get an attacking return, but just loves getting forward. Almost reminds me a little bit of Trent Alexander-Arnold with his forward threat. And from a defensive point of view, Chelsea aren't looking that bad. I mean, if it wasn't for the penalty that Mendy gave away, I think that they would have had a clean sheet against Everton. So looking quite good there for the clean sheets. Have a little bit of a tougher run coming up, but if they continue this form defensively, I still think there could be some clean sheets in there. So Reece James is definitely on my radar, as a lot of managers have actually already doubled up on that Chelsea defense. So it might be a bandwagon that has already missed, or we might be getting on it at just the right time. So Jota replacements. So if you have not been looking at the news recently, however, it has not been confirmed officially through Liverpool. So just keep your eyes on that one. Maybe there'll be some news coming out. I'm pretty sure after their game tonight, there'll be lots of questions about Diogo Jota. So maybe Klopp gives us something in the post-match conference. But right now, it is a rumor that he's going to be out for at least 2 months. That time could be extended considering the severity of the injury, but it does seem like a knee injury that's going to be, at a minimum, keep him out for 2 months, which is a long amount of time, and especially because all of us own him. Who do we replace him with? So what I've done here is I'll be looking at the Jota replacements and players that you can bring in. Now you can go for any other player you want. Maybe I don't cover them. Drop them down in the comments below, and I might actually consider them to be a better option than the ones I've highlighted. I've gone for some more outrageous picks here, so just keep your eyes on that one. Don't just go into the comments and berate me for these options. Just let me me talk about them and explain my thinking behind them to you, and maybe you'll understand them a little bit more. So if you don't own Jack Grealish, I would 100% bring him in. If you can afford the Aston Villa midfielder, he is 100% the best option in my opinion for a Diogo Jota replacement. However, if you are in that boat where you can't afford him, or like me already have a triple up in Aston Villa and you can't bring him in without taking a hit to take out one of the other players, then you could look at some other options. But if you can afford him and you can get him, go for Jack Grealish. That's just my opinion. The next option we'll be talking about is Fernan Torres. So I know you're probably thinking this is more of an outrageous pick there, but my thinking behind it is that Jota is currently 7 million, going to have a price drop to about that 6.9 mark, an easy like-for-like switch for a Man City attacker. Now the whole situation with Fernan Torres and why most people don't own him, and probably why you're a little bit hindered by him, is that his game time is not confirmed. So similar to the whole Foden situation, we don't really know who's going to be starting in that Man City lineup, but I definitely don't think Fernan Torres is the most likely to start. Those wing positions are quite highly contested right now with Sterling and Mahrez, but my thinking behind this is that he did start in the last 2 Champions League fixtures, which were midweek fixtures, and with this whole festive period coming around and the mass rotation that we sometimes see, I do think the Man City winger is going to be getting some chances there. So that's why I've highlighted him here, and also because of the thinking that they face West Bromwich Albion, and I almost wanted to find a way to bring in Sterling. Now with Diogo Jota, that plan has kind of gone out the window, but I still wanted to bring in a Man City attacker. I can't really afford Mahrez, so Fernan Torres slots nicely in there. I think if I was guaranteed or almost have some leaked team news that he was going to start against West Bromwich Albion, I think that I would go for him, just because like Foden, when he does start, I think he's going to get some goals there. So 1 goal, 1 assist, not the best in the world, but he has only played 419 minutes, and what I'm kind of hoping is if that he does face the easier teams in the Premier League, is that he's going to get those goals and assisting stats up quite a bit in those fixtures. So the next player we're going to be talking about is Rafinha. Now I have gone for Rafinha to spice things up a little bit. I think if you're looking at a Leeds midfielder, 100% Klich is the favored option because of that penalty threat, but if you want to go for more of a differential pick, you can look at Rafinha as well. So started the last 5 games, I do believe, so getting that game time recently. Only managed 1 goal and 0 assists, but he has a similar game time to Fernan Torres, but he comes in at 5.4 million. So if you want to look for maybe a downgrade on Diogo Jota to upgrade maybe another position, maybe a forward or another midfielder, you can definitely look at Rafinha. I think that Leeds are one of those sides who, no matter who they play, they're always going to get those attacking threat. Similar to the whole Bamford situation that we covered in depth for the Game Week 12 preview, that his stats will always be good because of just how attacking Leeds are. So if you want to look for maybe another cheaper option, you can look at Rafinha or go for Klich as maybe a safer alternative. So I then want to move on to the West Ham assets because it actually ties in nicely with the whole talking point before this, which was the whole Diogo Jota replacement scenario. So we're going to be going through some options, and the reason why I've gone for that West Ham asset talking point is just because of that figure on the screen there. So you can look at those fixtures, they look absolutely spectacular, and with the form that West Ham are in currently, they're playing really well. I think they're going to get some good FPL scores over these next upcoming game weeks. Until about that game week 20 mark, they have some great fixtures coming up, so that's why I'm looking at their assets. So the 3 West Ham assets that I've gone for in that midfield department are Bowen, Souček, and Fornals. So with Souček, I would go for him if you need that cheaper budget to upgrade maybe another department. Comes in at 4.9, got 3 goals and 1 assist, and has played every single minute. So if you need a midfielder that's definitely going to play, maybe you want to upgrade your 5th midfielder, you can also look at him as he's playing and getting some returns. And at 4.9 million, if he doesn't score every week, it's not the end of the world. And with those lovely upcoming fixtures, I do still expect him to do well. If you want to look at maybe a little bit more of an alternative option or a better option, I would look at Bowen or Fornals. Both come in at 6.4 and both have basically played every single minute. So the interesting thing about Bowen and Fornals is I think Fornals is more of the creative player, whereas Bowen is more of the attacking player, attacking winger, and that's what you can see from their goals and assists. So Bowen's managed 4 goals and 2 assists, and Fornals is on 2 goals and 4 assists. So with these 2 players, you can definitely see that if you want more of an attacking threat, you might look at Bowen, but is that what the underlying stats are also showing? And that's what I wanted to discuss to finalize this West Ham asset. So what I did was I took Bowen and Fornals and compared each other in terms of their stats, with Bowen in blue and Fornals in red. And as you can see, Bowen is producing the better stats in basically every single category, and that's why I simply would go for him if you are looking at a West Ham asset. If you're looking at a Diego Jota replacement, he even looks like a good replacement for him, as his stats are looking good and the fixtures are also looking good, so hopefully that means some FPL points in the upcoming game weeks. So finally, we're going to go on to the captaincy decision for game week 13, which is actually quite an interesting one. So I've got 3 options here. I definitely favor 2 more than the one, and that one is Mo Salah against Spurs. So the only reason Mo Salah is here is because this game is at Anfield, and Liverpool have been really good at home, especially with Mo Salah. His form at home is quite good. So you could look at him as more of a safe option, but I definitely think I would favor the other 2, which are Kevin De Bruyne against West Brom at home, and then Bruno Fernandes at Sheffield United away. So with Sheffield United away, there's that whole thing about Bruno Fernandes away form being so much better than his home form. So if you're one of those people, you could definitely look at Bruno Fernandes. I think even if this game was at home, I think he's also still a good option to go for, just because with how bad Sheffield United have been. The one thing about United is they sometimes struggle against sides that park the bus a little bit. I definitely think that that's what Sheffield United will do in this game. So that might be something to take into consideration when you are looking at Bruno Fernandes. So then we have Kevin De Bruyne against West Bromwich Albion, which to me seems like a no-brainer. However, there is always that threat of that Man City rotation. So if you don't really mind that and you're confident that De Bruyne is going to start, I think I would look at him. I think he's going to be the best captaincy option to go for, or just go for whichever Man City midfielder or forward you own, as I think this should be a good result for Man City against West Bromwich Albion. I think it's going to be a comfortable win, so hopefully that Man City captain does pay off. So this is basically a wrap up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it if you did, and subscribe if you're new or have not subscribed yet. I'll be checking you guys tomorrow for the team selection in preparation for this quick deadline that we're going to be receiving for game week 13. I'm going to be signing off. It's been Davey FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.